Now, the gentlelady from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers. Mr. Colby, this is somewhat following up on previous questions. There's been public reporting, as well as President Trump's statements on munition stockpiles, and my colleague, Mr. Moulton, touched upon this. Can you please give the department's assessment on munition stockpiles, what we can anticipate over the next year? I understand we're in an open setting, but the reason I'm asking the question is it will be Congress that appropriates and authorizes through a supplemental, so if you could lay out what you're able to in this open setting.
Sure, ma'am, and obviously we're in an open setting, but I think this obviously has our top priority attention. The $1.5 trillion figure, I'm not exactly sure how that might be broken up in terms of congressional engagement, but I know there's significant engagement from the Secretary, Deputy Secretary, Undersecretary Duffy, et cetera. So I'm not sure I can get into more specificity here, but you know, that's obviously, as the President indicated in his Truth Social the other evening, that's going to be a top priority for us.
In the National Defense Strategy, the prioritization on homeland defense is incredibly important. It's important not only to the entire country, but specifically to a district like mine, given the importance of missile defense. Can you tell me a little bit about the administration's focus on East Coast Missile Defense Site? In the first Trump administration, you will recall that the President designated Fort Drum as the chosen location for East Coast Missile Defense Site. This committee has passed that language. What is the status of that, and what is the plan for that moving forward?
Ma'am, I'll have to get back to you as quickly as possible with an answer on that, just on the precise status, but obviously the administration is committed to implementing the President's Golden Dome approach, so I think, you know, we see a strong future for missile defense, but I'll get back to you.
And implementing the NDAA and the language in the NDAA with the selection of Fort Drum as the East Coast Missile Defense Site?
I'm sorry.
And the intention is to implement the language in the NDAA?
I have no reason to think otherwise, but I'll get back to you, ma'am.
Okay. I guess just broadly, as you know, Mr. Colby, I represent the 10th Mountain Division, which I've just referenced. It's the most deployed division in the U.S. Army since 9/11. Currently, a brigade is deployed to the Middle East. Can you share a message to those soldiers and their families whom I represent in my district? These are families I speak with every single day as their member of Congress, and they'd appreciate to hear from you.
Well, I think I can say on behalf of the leadership of the department that they have, you know, our deepest respects and a sense of their honorable duty in a cause that is, you know, very much in the American people's interest, and that we are thinking very carefully and soberly about, you know, how we consider putting them into harm's way, so they can be confident. I can say, you know, Secretary Hegseth is personally leading day by day, hour by hour, really focused attention, obviously, with the uniformed, you know, seniors, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Cooper, et cetera. So I think they can feel they've got fantastic leadership under President Trump.
Well, we are grateful for their service, and our hearts and prayers go out to the 6 service members in the U.S. military and their families for the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our country. My final question, Mr. Colby, is, as we know, the CCP and the Iranian terrorist regime have long been close allies and partners, exchanging oil, munitions, and technology to repress their people. What is your assessment of the CCP posture today, and also what are your biggest concerns over the next 6 months to a year now that there has been the start of Operation Epic Fury?
Well, thank you, ma'am. I think we're watching this very closely. I'd have to be a little elliptical in open hearing, but I think, as I mentioned to Mr. Moulton, I mean, they certainly have been impressed by the prowess of the joint force, the ability to operate so effectively together. So I think that's been a salutary message for you know, kind of stability. My understanding is the Chinese, obviously, they're very dependent on energy resources coming out of the Middle East, so that's something they're watching very closely. One thing I think in the administration, from the President on down, you know, the President doesn't use terms like axis of evil and these kinds of things. I think obviously we are, as Mr. Moulton put it, concerned about the potential for simultaneity, but we want to avoid it. So part of that is the military part, but obviously the President's diplomacy is designed to engage with our potential opponents, obviously from a very clear-eyed point of view, from peace through strength point of view, but that's designed to avoid that very outcome. And I would distinguish that from the last administration, where Mr. Sullivan, I think, spoke at the end of the last administration about how our adversaries, quote unquote, were aligned to an unprecedented degree. And if you go back and you look at Henry Kissinger as something, the standard for a successful American foreign policy, you don't want everybody ganging up against you. And I think the President is very clear-eyed. Obviously, he's very realistic, but he's willing to engage in diplomacy from a realistic frame. And then our job is to provide that peace through strength approach, for instance, in the context of China.
Thank you. Yield back.
Again, ladies, time has expired. Gentleman from California, Mr.